Hi guys! In this video we're just going to finish up the last couple sections from this segment of chapter 6 with increment statements. These are a special kind, a unique form of assignment statements. So here's a quick reminder of the syntax for the assignment statement. It's always variable, equal sign, expression, semicolon. Okay, so that's our general form, and then we have some increment statements that have a special form. So first, remember, incrementing means going up by a set amount. We can increment by 1, which means going up by 1. We can increment by 5 or 10, which means going up by 5 or 10 respectively. So we can use our assignment statement to increment with an expression. So for an example, suppose we have an integer called age with an initial value of 20. If we want to increment by 1, we could use an assignment statement. We could say age should be assigned the value that is age plus 1. So with an assignment statement, it's going to calculate the right side of the equal sign first, and whatever value it comes up with, it's going to assign to the left side of the equal sign. So it will take age, which is currently 20, it'll add 1 to it and store the answer 21 in age. So age will get replaced with that value 21. And if we wanted to increment by 5, we could do the same thing. We'd start at 20, take age, add 5 to it, and store the answer back in age. I've created over here in this code blocks a little test program that we can use just for experimentation purposes. So you can see in the header comment, it's called blank test program. So this is so we can mess around with things. So we can add in the code from our slide, and that way we can see what it's doing. Well, print statements are a great way to see what our code is actually doing. So we're going to print the value of age both before and after the increment. That way we can see the value here right after it's been declared and initialized, and again after we've incremented by 1. So if we compile and run that, we should see both values of age, the one before the increment and the one after the increment. So this is a nice space for us to kind of experiment with increments. Now, if we just want to increment by 1 and only 1, there's a simplified version of that. Instead of using the assignment statement, we could use an increment statement, which is plus plus. So this is a unique shorthand that only increments by 1. It doesn't work with larger values. It's just 1. But since this is also just 1, we could replace this with the plus plus. So now if we compile and run, we can see that it behaves the exact same way. Here's age before the increment and age after the increment. It's gone up by 1. So that's a cool shortcut that we can use if we need to increment by 1. And we can do the same thing with decrementing. Decrementing, of course, means to go down by a set amount. So if we want to remove 1, or if we want to remove 5, we can do that with an expression, same as incrementing. Or we can do that with a shorthand, same as we had with the increment. It only works to decrease by 1, and it used minus minus instead of plus plus. So let's take a look at that real quick. So this way we can see the initial value of age, which was 20, and the value after it's been decremented, which is 19. You'll see usually the first version, this variable plus plus, is the more common version, but if you switch it around, plus plus a works exactly the same way. So if you run those two statements, they have the same result during execution. However, if you mix this specialized form of assignment statement with other assignment statements, you might get different results. So for an example, these two statements behave differently. So we're going to use our little experiment program to demonstrate. We know what happens if we use age plus plus. We'll see 20 here and 21 here. And there's our proof. Now we've stated that this does the same thing. And so we can run it and see that that is the case. Age 20 here, 21 here, same behavior. But now, if we mix it around, we're going to create a second integer called b with an initial value of 0. And this is the first time I think that we've seen this. If we declare multiple variables of the same type, we can do that in the same line by separating them with commas. So now we're going to say b is equal to age plus plus, and we're going to need to print out both age and this value b. So we'll do that and see what it looks like. Okay, so now we're seeing, remember, age after the increment, and the value of b. So b ended up with the value of age before age got incremented. Okay, so now let's see what happens if we do it the other way around. Doing it this way, b gets the value of age after it's been incremented. So having those plus plus signs on a particular side of age really matters if you mix it with other assignment statements. If you use it by itself, they both have the same equivalent output. That'll be it for this segment of Chapter 6. Next week, we'll explore more in arithmetic in C, and I will see you then.